Good morning, everybody. I don't have much of a voice. I've been down sick. Yeah, I got a respiratory infection in my chest, and it's turned into borderline pneumonia. And I've been to a doctor, taking a lot of meds, breathing treatments, all that good stuff. So you all bear with me, and it's kind of putting my videos a little bit delayed. That's why maybe some stuff that you've seen on one of Melinda's videos, you're just now seeing what we were working on in the background that day in my videos, because I'm delayed because I'm battling a upper respiratory infection. Don't even know what triggered it off. Who knows? It's just, it happened, and you got to deal with it sometimes. I will say this, I went to a doctor down the highway here towards Gimbel, that her office is at her house. Very nice home, very nice offices. Not a shabby setup at all. A really nice setup, very professional. You'd think you're at a hospital or really a medical place, but it's her home. Beautiful setting. It's pretty cool. She saw me, she diagnosed everything. She prescribed all the medications, and the total cost for her visit and for all of the medications, and there was about 5 different things, 1,700 pesos. 1,700 pesos. So that's pretty cool. She does want me to go get an x-ray. They always call on that here every time in the Philippines. Go get an x-ray, go get an x-ray. I'm not real big on that because repeated x-rays all the time can have an effect that can trigger. It certainly can. You can do your own research on it, but it's best to limit that x-rays, and they're always calling an x-ray here. So I didn't do the x-ray. I just recently had x-rays. Well, anyway, I battle this a lot in my life, so I'm used to it, but I'm gonna quit talking here so much, and I'm gonna walk you around, talk a little bit, and show you what all's been going on. So my last video before I went down this past week, I had went and bought this carbon pressure tank to eliminate that fake stainless steel tank there sold by Best Tank. I had bought this tank in a pinch before to pressure test all of our PPR that we had ran and set up everywhere before we sealed it inside the concrete in the walls. And so I wish I had just spent the money that day, that time, and bought this carbon tank. Really do. That was the biggest waste of money. If you'll see, there's like a paint line on here, and you can see there's some rust right there. And you see there's rust there and there's rust there. Well, this is like a low grade stainless in the middle, welded to a ordinary piece of steel that they spray paint an aluminum color to try to give it the illusion that it's stainless. And you can see the paint line here, see it? And then this little nipple that's not barbed to properly hold a hose on, it is also ordinary steel. And this one down here is also ordinary steel, welded onto a low quality piece of stainless steel and sold as a stainless steel tank. That ought to be criminal activity. So I'm just telling you, avoid those tanks like that right there. There's a couple brands. Avoid them. You're wasting your money. They rust out. They get holes in them. They get returned all the time. People trying to return them with no luck because they're crap. This one is a fiber tank with a bladder in it. It's a bladder tank. The bladder's nice because it helps hold your pressure better. And the fittings are plastic PVC coming out of it. I'm telling you, it's way better, especially these mineral-rich waters. It has the manifold, everything down there that we put on for the pressure switch, for the gauge, your water in, your water out. So it's going to be going underneath this staircase right here in this little room. And we're really ready to do that. We've already got the pump down in the well now, the wiring all in, everything ready. And we just need to make a couple connections. But I want to be there for it, and I'm not up to it right now. So we'll have to come back to this. So we had trimmed some of those palmeras over here in the neighborhood. Oh, it's trying to rain. I don't need to get wet. And we're going to take and bury all this wood from that palmera. It's not good for firewood. It's full of moisture. So they're going to bury it down in that big hole where we're covering it up with sand. And we're going to burn this big pile here. Just leave it. Whatever you want to do. You just, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And so we're trying to clean all this up from trimming up trees. Trimming and trimming trees. Not only on our property, but we're trimming trees in the subdivision. This fence right over here had become really overgrown and had all these little young saplings growing out everywhere. And they first got like a foot or two out, and then 5 foot out. And next thing you know, they're 10, 12 out from the fence and like a forest. And now we can see back over into Yoli's place again, and better watch our place. Melinda come out the other evening and caught a kid climbing over the fence right here, coming over into the subdivision over the fence. She recognized the kid and what family he's from. Boy, did she give him a scolding too, and he hurried his little butt back over that fence. But yeah, we're just always doing things here to try to help our neighborhood, and that'll help our neighbor Yoli out, and we can better keep an eye in there on her place. I'm gonna get them to trim that little limb up there just a little bit too. And the people that have this house sent some family out, and they cut trees around that house, and they just threw it all down on everybody else's lots. Get out of that rain. Yeah, they trimmed trees, and they just let the limbs fall all around the house in there, and just left piles of limbs all around against the house inside. Been better if they hadn't even trimmed nothing at all. And all the way around the place, they dropped tree limbs on everybody else's lots, drove away, and left it all for somebody else's problem. Ah, the joys, the joys, the joys. I want y'all to see the bananas here. See if we can get that to zoom up. Yeah, look at those bananas growing out. Well, a bunch of them. Let's see if we can zoom that again. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that just awesome? And still putting more out. You see that? That bloom's still coming open. Still with layers and layers of bananas. Absolutely amazing. Then in here, Joelle leveled up top of that wall, made a little corner post here. that we're going to be putting glass block in, 2 rows of glass block on the top of that wall up to the ceiling. And inside in here, I asked Mak Mak today if he would go ahead and skim coat the ceiling in this little small CR. Joel did a little prep work on the walls. Did some things down here that I asked him to do to embed some pipes. So we got that moving along, and we'll be ready to tile this bathroom. It's really ready. Just to tell you the truth, it's ready to knock it out. It's a small room, it'll go pretty quick too. This is gonna be a bathroom here that the shower, the sink, the toilet is all combined into one little like wet room right there. So it's a small little room here, and it's got a smaller CR and a smaller little kitchenette. It does have a kitchenette though. So it's not very far away from finishing. Melinda and I drove to Wilcon on Sunday, even though I wasn't feeling really very good and I was pretty grouchy. We knew that we need to go on up and get the toilets for these guest rooms. I didn't buy the same brand that I bought up there, like the one in RCR. That one's very expensive. These weren't cheap themselves. They were a little pricey too, but I wanted a good quality toilet, but I didn't want to pay no $500 per toilet either, you know, so, or more. So I bought these. It's Posi brand. They're made out of Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of funny. It says product Vietnam, but I just now see on the box it says, made in China. It's a crazy world, crazy world. So I bought these. One of these is for this room. The other one's for the room next door. And Joel is just about done tiling in here. He'd actually stopped waiting for some answers from me how I wanted some things in here on it. I've got the laminate for the countertop in here now as well. I've got it already stored here, and we'll be ready to put the sink on. I do need to pick up the faucet for it, and I need to have that faucet on hand so that we know how to properly cut the holes in that laminate before we put it on there. But it's looking pretty good. He's just trimming up around down by the doors here right now, and we are having to scrape up tile to finish this because we bought up all the last of the tile they had like this, and man, we are really digging through and trying to make perfect cuts with all the scrap we got to finish up all these little places like this and up this side here. And then we got to do the area where the mirror and all goes right there. And he worked all underneath. He's got that looking very nice down underneath down there. And so we'll have just a minimum of plumbing showing. That looks good as well. Over here in this other guest room, I see they got them a little table they can stand on here and work. And they got the ceiling all skim coated in here now. And this will also be ready to tile now. And I have not bought the tile for this CR yet. I can't get any more of that other tile, and I really want to give this one maybe a different style. So we will have to go on a hunt for tile for this room here pretty soon. But we've also got to clean out this room. It's just full of stuff. So that tilapia pond over there, it is empty. We cleaned it out, and they're fixing to power wash it out. And all the fish are gone. I was upstairs. I didn't get the video of them removing them, so I don't have no video of it. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I gave all those fish away. We gathered some a couple different times, and we cooked them here at the place. But I harvested them all up. I had those guys just to harvest them up here a couple days ago, and I divided them up amongst my workers, and I gave them away to everybody working here. I let them just take their share. So we rigged up our own router table. We just took some screws and some wires, fastened that router upside down by the handles. I mean, it's secure. And we got a piece of wire on the trigger that we can just emergency just shove it down like that, and it turns it off. Just pull it up, see here. Got to make do with what you have, and really expressing to Mak Mak to keep his hand away from that blade right there. But look, y'all can talk about guards for everything in the world, but when you're dealing with power equipment, the number one thing, your best guard is yourself. Use your brain, keep your mind clear. That's why it's best not to, be in any kind of substances or anything like that. You got to have a clear mind and awareness. You can have all the guards in the world, and they ain't going to help you if you don't have awareness and just be working with a good, clear mind. And you're not going to find much of a guard for a router working it, even on a table up like this anyway. You're going to have places and times that there's blades and stuff sticking out that you can't avoid the danger. And the best thing you do is just use your brain. That's the number one thing. That's why I have him as the one doing this, because he's not, always hazardous with everything. So some of you new to the channel don't know what these are. Like for right here straight above me, see these light boxes and all coming out. They get LED lights, and I made these like a grommet to put the LED light in. And we finished these out. They look nice. We put up there, and it gives a place for LED light to go. So after we get done routering all of these, and if you don't know also, these are all made out of a teak wood from a local shop. I had him to cut me all of these shapes like this, and then we're routering out and finishing them ourselves. And there is literally, we had hundreds of them. It's probably close to 100 of them. The next thing that we'll be doing is here on the back side of it, is that we'll change router bits after we're done, and we'll go in here and we'll cut out a groove, because those LED lights have this little spring that springs down on the sides. And if you try to just put that spring directly up into that box and it press out, it wants to drop down on that plastic. It needs to be able to spring on open and lay back. So what we'll do is we'll router out a groove into these for that spring to pop into and lay flat in there. We'll come back and do all those afterwards. So he's gonna continue on here routering on these, and I'm gonna get out of this damp air. Well, Ammon is finishing up that stone on that column going up right there. You can see it's looking very nice. That looks so good. That box right there, that's the plug for our like Christmas lights or something like that when we put them out, and they're switched on the inside. But man, he's working it on up there right now. It's looking really good. Yeah, man, that's nice. It's a smaller stone than what's in the middle there. And Marvin's going around repairing the skim coat everywhere. It's took little chips and it's took little beatings and stuff while we've been doing the rest of the work around here on the house. And we're getting prepared to give it all a final finish up in there, and it'll all be getting painted here soon. Mak Mak has got a little project going on, and that's what Nardo's mixing right there. And so that project is I went ahead and got enough energy, even though I'm not feeling good, and I drove on to City Hardware to get the fittings that we need to connect this tank on up. And before we put this tank underneath these steps, I asked them to go in here and do what they call a topping, which is like real fine sifted sand mixed with Portland cement, and they'll work that down till it has like a glazed like finish. And a lot of times, a lot of homes, it's all they'll have in there on their floor is just that final shiny glazed over finish, because this concrete was real rough, hard to sweep out, hard to get in there and work on it. So you have to let that set a while, then come over it again and polish over it. Yeah, throw a little bit of dry on it and polish it. Yeah. So he's laminating that up. When he's done with that project, we'll be putting this tank in and finishing our well project. And that'll probably be tomorrow. I'm hoping to feel a little bit better, and we'll start making all these connections. And out here, we have been wiping away all of the debris and stuff from building and burning different times, and cleaning up over here on this lot next door to us here. That's looking so good to get rid of all of that. And even though it ain't really our place to do it, the doctor, his caretaker, trimmed up all of the stuff inside their place and just threw it over here across the street. Yeah, I see that, all those thorns in it. And so I asked him why we're burning, just to go ahead and throw it on our pile and burn it. But hey, maybe just burn it right there. Just pile all that dry up right there. Just burn it right here. And so we're kind of cleaning up other people's messes too. We're going to talk to the doctor's caretaker about not doing this again, throwing stuff out here like this. We also cleaned up somebody else's pile over there as well, but it's just part of us trying to take care of the neighborhood here. Well, I bought this little bull. He is mine now. Bought him, I don't know, about 3 or 4 days ago. And gonna move him up here closer to the house, or keep an eye on him. That cow's belling around there for his little calf here on the other side. Yeah, it's my little bull now.